The conference room smells like power and old money. Selena Martinez stands at the head of the mahogany table, her black Armani suit sharp enough to cut glass. 10 men in custom Italian will sit frozen, their expensive watches catching the light as their hands tremble. They're wondering how they got here. How the quiet girl they once mocked, the scholarship student they dismissed, the daughter her own parents called a failure, now holds their entire futures in her perfectly manicured hands. Gentlemen, Selena's voice is silk over steel, let's discuss what happens when you underestimate the wrong woman. But we're getting ahead of ourselves. To understand how 10 powerful men ended up begging for mercy from a woman they'd tried to destroy, we need to go back. Back to where it all started. Back to the day one single tear changed everything. 5 years earlier, the graduation gown hangs on Selena's closet door like a ghost. Navy blue polyester that cost her 3 shifts at the diner. She touches the fabric, feeling the cheap synthetic material between her fingers. Tomorrow is supposed to be the proudest day of her life. Bachelor's degree in computer science from State University. 4 years of 18-hour days, ramen dinners, and textbooks she bought used and resold for next month's rent. She'd done it. Against every odd, every obstacle, every voice that said a girl from the barrio couldn't make it in tech. She'd graduated summa cum laude with 3 job offers and a research paper that made her professors call her brilliant. Her phone sits silent on her desk. No messages. No calls. She'd invited them 6 weeks ago. Sent the formal invitation with the university seal. Her mother, Patricia Martinez, had looked at it like it was contaminated. Her father, Roberto, hadn't even opened the envelope. A graduation, her mother had said, her voice dripping with the particular disdain only a disappointed parent can master. For what? A worthless degree that won't get you a real job? You should have studied nursing like I told you. Something practical. Selena had tried explaining. The tech industry, the opportunities, the starting salary that was triple what her mother made after 20 years as a hotel housekeeper. But Patricia had cut her off with a wave of her hand, the same hand that had slapped Selena when she was 16 for daring to dream bigger than their neighborhood. You're wasting your time, her father had added, not looking up from his beer. Playing with computers like a child. When are you going to grow up and get married? Have children? Do something that matters? Something that matters. The words had burned like acid. Now, sitting in her tiny studio apartment, walls covered with coding printouts and inspiration quotes she'd collected to keep herself going through the dark nights, Selena picks up her phone. She shouldn't call. Shouldn't give them another chance to hurt her. But some part of her, the little girl who used to wait by the window for her father to come home, who used to braid her mother's hair and dream of making her proud, that part can't let go. She dials. Her mother answers on the 5th ring. What? Patricia's voice is annoyed, distracted. Selena can hear the TV in the background, her favorite telenovela. Mom, it's me. About tomorrow, we're not coming, Selena. I already told you. But it's my graduation. I'm the first person in our family to get a college degree. I thought maybe, you thought wrong. Her mother's voice hardens. Your brother needs us to watch his kids. That's more important than watching you collect a piece of paper for a degree that won't matter in 2 years when you're pregnant and stuck at home anyway. The words land like punches. Each one carefully aimed. Each one designed to hurt. I got job offers, Mom. Good ones. One is with a company in Silicon Valley. They want to fly me out next month for Silicon Valley? Her mother laughs, sharp and cruel. You? A girl who couldn't even pass high school math without tutoring? They must be desperate. Selena's throat closes. She had passed high school math. With an A. After teaching herself because her parents couldn't afford tutoring and wouldn't have paid for it anyway. But her mother has never let facts interfere with her narrative. I need to go, Patricia continues. Your father and we have real responsibilities. Maybe one day you'll understand what that means. The line goes dead. Selena sits in the silence of her apartment, holding the phone like it's evidence of a crime. Around her, the walls press in. This place, this tiny box she's called home for 4 years, suddenly feels suffocating. She's worked so hard. Sacrificed so much. Given up parties and friends and sleep and any semblance of a normal college experience. All to make them proud. All to prove she was worth something. And they can't even give her one day. That's when she feels it. A single tear rolling down her cheek. Just one. Hot and heavy and carrying 4 years of exhaustion, disappointment, and rage. She watches it fall onto her keyboard, landing on the space bar. The key she presses 10,000 times a day writing code that her parents think is child's play. Selena wipes her face. Stands up. Walks to her mirror. The girl looking back at her is 22, dark circles under her eyes, hair pulled back in a practical ponytail, wearing an oversized hoodie from a hackathon she won but never told her parents about because why bother? This girl is tired. So goddamn tired of being invisible. Of being dismissed. Of being told by everyone that she's not enough, never enough, will never be enough. But something else looks back at her too. Something harder. Something that's been building beneath the exhaustion like pressure in a closed system. 4 years of swallowed insults. 4 years of proving herself to professors who assumed she was there for diversity points. 4 years of watching mediocre men get opportunities she had to fight for. 4 years of her own family treating her dreams like inconvenient hobbies. Before we continue, I need you to know something. This story isn't about revenge. Not really. It's about what happens when a woman finally stops apologizing for taking up space. When she stops shrinking herself to make other people comfortable. When she realizes that the people who should love her most are the ones holding her back. And what she does next will change everything. Selena graduates alone. She sits in the stadium with 5,000 other students, surrounded by families with flowers and cameras and tears of pride. Around her, parents hug their children. Mothers cry. Fathers beam. She watches a girl 2 rows ahead receive a standing ovation from what looks like 15 family members, all cheering like she'd just won the Olympics. When they call Selena's name, summa cum laude, department honors, research distinction, she walks across that stage alone. No one screams her name. No one films it. No one is there to see the dean shake her hand and whisper, "Exceptional work, Miss Martinez. We're lucky to have had you." She accepts her diploma, turns to face the crowd, and sees empty space where her family should be. Just empty seats and strangers who don't know that she'd spent every Saturday for 2 years tutoring other students for free. That she'd built an app that helps first-generation students navigate financial aid. That she'd been offered a full ride to MIT for her master's but turned it down because she needed to start earning money to escape. That night, while her classmates celebrate with their families at expensive restaurants, Selena sits in her apartment eating ramen. She doesn't cry. That one tear yesterday was her quota. Instead, she opens her laptop and looks at the job offers. 3 companies. All good. All safe. All offering decent money and benefits and the kind of stable career her mother would finally respect if she bothered to understand what any of it meant. Selena closes those emails. Opens a new browser. Types, how to start a tech company with no capital. Year 1, foundation starting a company with $700 in savings and a laptop held together with duct tape is not glamorous. The entrepreneurship podcasts and success stories don't mention the parts where you're choosing between eating and keeping the internet on. Where you're coding 18 hours a day in coffee shops because they're warmer than your apartment and you can't afford the heating bill. Selena takes the worst of the 3 job offers. Not the Silicon Valley dream or the prestigious startup. She joins a mid-tier company doing basic web development for corporate clients. It's boring work that uses maybe 10% of her skills. But it pays enough to live on, and more importantly, it's a 9 to 5 that leaves her evenings and weekends free. Free to build. Her idea is simple but personal. An AI-powered platform that helps first-generation college students navigate the hidden curriculum of higher education. Everything she'd had to learn the hard way, all the unspoken rules about networking and internships and financial aid and professor office hours, codified into an algorithm that learns and adapts to each user. She calls it ASCENT. The first version is rough. Buggy. Built in stolen hours between shifts and sleep deprivation. But it works. She tests it on herself, on her own experiences, and watches the AI learn patterns. Then she reaches out to other first-gen students, offering the platform free, asking only for feedback. The response is overwhelming. Within 3 months, she has 200 users. Within 6 months, 2,000. Students sharing it in WhatsApp groups and Discord servers. Posting about it on TikTok and Reddit. The AI learns faster than she'd dreamed, incorporating feedback and outcomes and success stories until it's genuinely useful. Selena works through holidays. Through her birthday. Through the day her mother calls, not to congratulate her on the graduation she missed, but to borrow money because Roberto lost his job again and they're behind on rent. How much do you need? Selena asks, staring at her own bank account. $400 after this month's expenses. 1,000 would help. Just until your father finds something. Selena sends 500. It's all she can spare. Her mother doesn't say thank you. Just, is this all? I thought with your fancy degree you'd be making real money by now. The call ends. Selena goes back to coding. Year 2, acceleration user growth is exponential now. 20,000 students across 200 universities. Selena's AI is good, really good, learning patterns that she hadn't even programmed. Predicting which internships students should apply for based on their interests and background. Suggesting specific professors to connect with. Helping first-gen students navigate a system designed to exclude them. She gets her first press mention. A small education tech blog that calls ASCENT promising. The article includes her photo, her name, her story about building the platform in her spare time because no one had built it for her. That's when the investors start calling. The first few she ignores. She knows the statistics. Women get less than 3% of venture capital. Latina women get even less. And she's not ready to sit in rooms full of men who'll dismiss her like her father dismissed her dreams. But one call is different. Miss Martinez? This is Sarah Chen from Meridian Ventures. I've been using ASCENT with my ments, and I need to talk to you about scaling this. Sarah Chen. Selena knows the name. One of the few prominent women VCs in tech. Known for backing female founders. For writing essays about the boys' club of Silicon Valley and how to burn it down. They meet for coffee. Sarah is 40-something, sharp-eyed, wearing a leather jacket that probably costs more than Selena's car. How much runway do you have? Sarah asks, no small talk, straight to business. Runway? Money. Capital. How long can you keep operating before you're broke? Selena does the math in her head. 4 months. Maybe 5 if I skip meals. Sarah doesn't smile. You're currently working full-time? Yes. And building this nights and weekends? Yes. Sleeping? Sometimes. Now Sarah smiles. Good. You're not an idiot who thinks passion is enough. You know it takes sacrifice. She pulls out her laptop. I'm going to offer you seed funding. 500,000. 15% equity. Standard terms. But I have conditions. Selena's heart hammers. $500,000. More money than she's seen in her lifetime. What conditions? You quit your job today. Full-time on ASCENT. You hire a team, no solo hero bullshit. And you let me introduce you to people who can help scale this properly. Sarah's eyes pin her. Can you do that? Every rational voice in Selena's head screams caution. This could be a trap. This could fall apart. She could fail spectacularly and end up worse than where she started. But then she remembers sitting in that graduation stadium alone. Remembers her mother's voice saying she'd never matter. Remembers that single tear. Yes, Selena says. I can do that. Sarah extends her hand. Then let's build something that matters. Year 3, scaling with funding, everything changes. Selena rents actual office space. Not much, just a small suite in a co-working building, but it has dedicated internet and desks and a coffee maker that doesn't smell like burned regret. She hires carefully. First, a senior developer, Marcus, who's brilliant and patient and doesn't mansplain. Then a UX designer, Priya, who makes the platform beautiful and intuitive. Then a data scientist, Jennifer, who makes the AI sing. Her team is small but mighty. And notably, not one of them looks like the typical Silicon Valley stereotype. Marcus is black and older, passed over for promotions at his last company despite being twice as talented. Priya is Indian American and neurodivergent, fired from her last job for not fitting the culture. Jennifer is queer and covered in tattoos, rejected from academic positions for not being professional enough. They're all people the system overlooked. And they're all brilliant. Together, they scale ASCENT to 100,000 users. Then 500,000. The AI gets better, more nuanced, genuinely helpful. Students start reporting outcomes, scholarships they wouldn't have known to apply for, internships they wouldn't have had the confidence to pursue, doors opening that had been invisible before. Selena works 16-hour days, but it doesn't feel like work. It feels like purpose. Her parents still don't call. Not to congratulate her. Not to ask how she's doing. The one time she reaches out, sending them a link to an article about ASCENT, her mother responds with a single line, "That's nice, Mija. Can you send money this month? Your brother needs help with his rent." Selena sends the money. Doesn't expect thanks. Doesn't get any. But something is building inside her. Not anger anymore. Something colder. More controlled. A determination that has nothing to do with proving herself to them and everything to do with proving herself to herself. Year 4, recognition ASCENT hits 1 million users. The press notices. Real press, not just tech blogs. The New York Times runs a feature. Forbes puts Selena on their 30 under 30 list. She does a TED Talk about breaking barriers and building tools for the overlooked. The talk goes viral, 10 million views in a month. Investors who'd ignored her calls 2 years ago now fight for meetings. Offers pour in. Acquisition offers, partnership offers, men in expensive suits who want to help her scale, which means take control and push her out. She says no to all of them. Instead, she raises a Series A $20 million at a valuation that makes her, on paper at least, a multimillionaire. Sarah Chen leads the round, brings in other female VCs, builds a cap table that's majority women for the first time in Silicon Valley history. "You're going to be a unicorn," Sarah tells her after the funding closes. "You know that, right?" Selena doesn't let herself believe it. Belief feels dangerous. Belief feels like the moment before everything crashes. But the growth continues. ASCENT expands beyond college students to grad school applicants, to first-generation professionals navigating corporate America, to immigrants learning the hidden rules of American business culture. The AI adapts, learns, becomes genuinely revolutionary. Universities start reaching out, wanting to license the platform. Corporations want to use it for diversity recruiting. The U.S. Department of Education requests a meeting about a potential partnership. And through it all, Selena's parents don't call. She tells herself she doesn't care. That she's moved past needing their approval. But late at night, when she's alone in her apartment, she still checks her phone. Still hopes for a message that says they're proud. That they see her. That she was wrong to call her worthless. The message never comes. Year 5, the return the letter arrives on a Tuesday. State University, Office of the President. Heavy cream stationery with the university seal embossed in gold. Selena almost tosses it, assuming it's a donation request. She gets dozens now, everyone wanting money from the successful alumna. But something makes her open it. Dear Ms. Martinez, on behalf of the Board of Trustees and the entire State University community, I am honored to invite you to a special dedication ceremony. In recognition of your extraordinary achievements and your commitment to supporting first-generation students, the university will be naming our new computer science building in your honor. The Selena Martinez Center for Technology and Innovation will serve as a hub for students from underrepresented backgrounds, providing resources, mentorship, and opportunities. We hope you will join us for the dedication ceremony and share your inspiring story with our community. Selena reads the letter 3 times. Then a 4th. Then she sets it down carefully, like it might dissolve. They're naming a building after her. The girl her own parents called a failure now has her name on a building in bronze letters that will outlast all of them. She should feel triumphant. Vindicated. Proven right against every person who doubted her. But what she feels is tired. So deeply tired of carrying the weight of other people's expectations and dismissals. And then she gets an idea. A terrible, perfect, absolutely necessary idea. She picks up her phone, scrolls to a number she hasn't called in months, and dials. Her mother answers immediately. Probably sees the California area code and hopes it's money. Selena? Hi, Mom. Is everything okay? Do you need something? Even now, her mother assumes she's the one in need. Can't imagine that her daughter might be calling from a position of power. Actually, I wanted to invite you and Dad to something. My university is having an event next month. I thought you might want to come. Silence on the other end. Then, suspicious, what kind of event? A dedication ceremony. They're honoring some alumni. Not a lie. Just not the whole truth. I don't know, Mija. That's expensive. Flying out there, hotels. We don't have that kind of money. I'll pay for everything. Flights, hotel, meals. I just want you there. Another silence. Longer this time. Selena can practically hear her mother calculating, trying to figure out the angle. Fine, Patricia finally says. We'll come. But we can't stay long. Your father has work. That's okay. Just one day. They set the details. Selena books them first-class tickets and a suite at the nicest hotel in the city. Sends a car service to pick them up. Makes sure every detail is perfect. She's not doing this for them. She's doing this for the girl she used to be. The one who waited by windows and braided hair and believed that maybe, someday, she'd be enough. That girl deserves closure. The ceremony the day is perfect. Cloudless sky, temperature in the 70s, the kind of weather that makes you believe in fresh starts. The campus has transformed since Selena graduated. New buildings, new energy, but the same sense of possibility that had kept her going through those brutal years. The computer science building is gorgeous. Modern architecture, glass and steel and light, nothing like the cramped, outdated facilities where she'd learned to code. Outside, a crowd of hundreds gathers. Students, faculty, alumni, press, local politicians, all here for the dedication. Selena arrives early. She's in a custom navy suit, her hair professionally styled, heels that cost more than her first month's rent used to be. She looks successful. powerful. Nothing like the struggling girl her parents remember. Her mother and father arrive in the car she sent. Selena watches them exit, confused by the luxury treatment. Patricia is in her good dress, the one she wears to weddings. Roberto in a suit that doesn't quite fit. They look small and lost among the crowd of well-dressed people. Selena. Her mother spots her, pushes through the crowd. What is this? You said it was a small ceremony. It's a dedication, Selena says calmly. For the new building. Why are we here? We don't know anyone, welcome. The university president interrupts, approaching with her hand extended. Mr. and Mrs. Martinez, I'm President Wallace. We're so honored to have you here today. Patricia blinks, confused. Roberto just looks suspicious. Thank you for coming to celebrate your daughter's incredible achievement, President Wallace continues, beaming. Selena has made us so proud. We're thrilled to recognize her contributions. Her contributions? Roberto's voice is uncertain. Shall we begin? President Wallace doesn't wait for an answer, just guides them toward the covered building entrance where a ribbon waits to be cut. The ceremony starts. President Wallace gives opening remarks, talking about the university's commitment to first-generation students, to diversity, to innovation. Then she introduces a series of speakers. Former professors who talk about Selena's brilliance. Students who've used ASCENT and credit it with changing their lives. Sarah Chan, who flies in to speak about Selena's impact on the tech industry. Each speech reveals another piece of a story Selena's parents never knew. The scholarship girl who tutored for free. The developer who built tools to help others. The entrepreneur who raised millions. The innovator who changed lives. Patricia and Roberto sit in the front row, their faces cycling through confusion, then shock, then something that might be understanding. Finally, President Wallace calls Selena to the stage. Ladies and gentlemen, it is my profound honor to introduce the woman we're celebrating today. A visionary leader, a tireless advocate for first-generation students, and a proud alumna of this university. Please join me in welcoming Selena Martinez. The applause is thunderous. Selena walks to the podium, looks out at the crowd, finds her parents' faces. Her mother's eyes are wide, filling with tears. Her father looks like he's been struck. Thank you, Selena begins, her voice steady. 5 years ago, I graduated from this university alone. No family came to watch me walk across that stage. I sat in that stadium surrounded by other people's celebrations and wondered if I'd made a mistake. If I'd wasted 4 years chasing a dream no one else believed in. The crowd is silent. Her mother's hand covers her mouth. I was told my degree was worthless. That I was playing with computers like a child. That I should focus on real things that matter. Selena's voice never wavers. So I want to thank that rejection. Thank you for telling me I wasn't enough. Because it taught me that the only person who needs to believe in me is me. She pauses, lets the words land. This building represents something bigger than my name. It represents every first-generation student who's been told they don't belong. Every daughter told her dreams are silly. Every person who's had to choose between being liked and being respected. Selena looks directly at her parents. We don't need permission to be extraordinary. We just need opportunity. And I'm grateful this university gave me that when no one else would. The applause erupts again. President Wallace joins Selena at the podium, hands her oversized scissors. Ms. Martinez, if you'll do us the honor? Selena cuts the ribbon. The covering falls away, revealing the building's entrance and, above it, bronze letters 6 feet tall, the Selena Martinez Center for Technology and Innovation. Her name. Permanent. Unignorable. A testament in metal and stone that she matters. The crowd surges forward, wanting photos and congratulations. But Selena's eyes stay on her parents. Patricia is crying openly now, tears streaming down her face. Roberto stares at the building like he's seeing it for the first time. Later, after the official photos and the reception and the speeches, Selena finds them standing alone by the building entrance. Her mother reaches for her, but Selena steps back. "Mija," Patricia whispers. "I didn't know. I didn't understand what you were, you could have known," Selena says quietly. "I tried to tell you. For years, I tried. But you didn't want to hear it." "We're sorry," her father says, and it's the first time she's heard those words from him. "We were wrong. About everything. You're not a failure. He looks up at her name on the building. "You're extraordinary." Selena should feel vindicated. This is the moment she's dreamed about. Her parents finally seeing her, finally admitting they were wrong. But instead of triumph, she just feels empty. "I forgive you," she says, and means it. "But I don't need you anymore. I needed you 5 years ago when I was alone in that stadium. I needed you when I was building my company on ramen and hope. I needed you when I was lying awake at night wondering if I was crazy for believing in myself." Her mother's face crumbles. "But I learned something important," Selena continues, her voice soft but firm. "I learned that the people who should support you sometimes can't. Sometimes they're too trapped in their own limitations to see yours. And that's sad, but it's not my responsibility to fix. Please," Patricia reaches out again. "Give us another chance. Let us be part of your life." Selena looks at this woman who gave birth to her but never saw her. This woman who called her worthless and borrowed money and never said thank you. And she feels something shift inside. Not anger. Not even disappointment. Just acceptance. "You are part of my life," Selena says. "You're the reason I built all of this. The reason I worked so hard to prove myself. You taught me that I couldn't depend on anyone but me. So thank you for that lesson." She smiles, and it's genuine. "But I don't need your approval anymore. I have my own." She walks away, leaving them standing beneath her name in bronze letters, finally understanding what their daughter became when they weren't looking. Epilogue: the conference room from the opening scene isn't at a university. It's at ASCENT headquarters, now a gleaming building in downtown San Francisco with Selena's name on the deed. The 10 men sitting at her table aren't random enemies. They're VCs and executives from companies that rejected her when she was starting out. Men who dismissed her ideas, questioned her competence, suggested she'd be better suited for supportive roles. Today, they're here because ASCENT is acquiring their companies. Buying them out at valuations that give Selena control and them minimal say. It's not revenge. It's business. But it feels like justice. "Gentlemen," Selena says again, that silk over steel voice that's become her trademark. "Let's discuss what happens when you underestimate the wrong woman." She presents the terms. Generous enough to keep them from suing, tight enough to hurt. They'll get paid out, but they'll lose their positions, their control, their legacies. Everything they built will now have Selena's name on it. One man, the worst of them, the one who'd told her to smile more during her pitch meeting, finally speaks. "You're doing this because we rejected you 5 years ago?" Selena smiles. It doesn't reach her eyes. "No. I'm doing this because you were wrong about me, and I was right about you. You built companies on old networks and older thinking. I built mine on actually solving problems. The market decided which approach works better." She stands, meeting each of their eyes. "Sign the papers or don't. Either way, your companies are done. This is me being kind and giving you an exit. Turn it down, and I'll just wait for you to collapse and buy the assets for pennies." They sign. All of them. Because men like this always understand power when it's pointed at them. After they leave, Sarah Chin enters from the adjoining office where she's been listening. "That was brutal," Sarah says, grinning. "I'm so proud. It wasn't about revenge, Selena says. I know. It was about making sure they never do to another woman what they tried to do to you. Sarah hands her a glass of whiskey. That's not revenge. That's justice. They toast to that. That evening, Selena stands in her office looking out at San Francisco Bay. Her company is worth over $1 billion now. A genuine unicorn. She has more money than she can spend, more influence than she'd dreamed possible, and a legacy that will outlast her. Her parents call sometimes now. Not for money. Just to talk. To try to rebuild what they destroyed. Selena takes their calls, but with boundaries. She's cordial but not close. Forgiving but not forgetting. Because that's the thing about empowerment stories they don't tell you. The happy ending isn't reconciliation with the people who hurt you. It's not them finally seeing your worth. The happy ending is you realizing you never needed their validation in the first place. Selena's phone buzzes. A message from Marcus, new user milestone. 5 million students. We're changing the world, boss. She smiles, a real one this time. She thinks about all those students, first-generation kids like she was, using her platform to navigate systems designed to exclude them. She thinks about the building with her name that will help hundreds more. She thinks about the companies she's acquired and the culture she'll build, one that actually values talent over pedigree. And she thinks about that single tear. The one that rolled down her face 5 years ago when her parents chose cruelty over support. That tear that watered something dark and determined and absolutely unstoppable. 10 men didn't see sunrise. Not literally, of course. But their version of power, their world of dismissal and old boys clubs and keeping women in supportive roles, that world is ending. And Selena is the one killing it. Not with violence. With competence. With vision. With the quiet, devastating power of a woman who stopped apologizing for her brilliance and started building monuments to it. She closes her laptop, picks up her coat, and heads out. Tomorrow, she'll announce ASCENT's next phase, free access for every first-generation student in America. $100 million investment in destroying barriers. Tonight, she's having dinner with her team. The misfits and overlooked who became world changers because someone finally gave them a chance. Selena walks out of her building into the San Francisco evening. On the wall behind her, chrome letters catch the light, ASCENT headquarters, founded by Selena Martinez. Another building. Another name. Another reminder that the girl they called worthless now has her legacy written in steel. And somewhere, in that conference room where 10 men signed away their power, a single tear rolled down one man's face. Just one. As he realized too late what he'd dismissed. But unlike Selena's tear 5 years ago, his didn't water anything. It just dried up and disappeared, like his relevance. Because that's the difference between tears of defeat and tears of determination. One ends your story. The other begins it. Selena's story is just beginning.